This is a film that has been released for 20 years, but it has always remained at the top of the Korean romance film rankings. It is precisely because of this film that a saying has been passed down: whenever Sun Ye-jin cries, all the men in the world are at fault. This is also the only film that the blogger edited while crying, so those who are afraid of heartbreak should watch with caution. In the summer vacation of 1968, the rich girl Joo-hee came from the city to the countryside to visit her grandfather, and the poor boy Joon-ha was attracted by her delicate and moving beauty. His companions mocked him, telling him not to overestimate himself, as she is the daughter of a member of the National Assembly. But he, who was just beginning to fall in love, couldn't help but greet her. Unexpectedly, she responded by waving without any hesitation. It was precisely this chance encounter that ignited their uncontrollable youth. Joo-hee, who had just arrived in the countryside, was full of curiosity about everything around her, even the dung beetle that Joon-ha dug out from cow dung. She reached out to touch it without any disgust. In order to learn more about the interesting things in the countryside, she actually took the initiative to invite Joon-ha to explore the legendary haunted house. Facing the enthusiastic invitation from the goddess he admired, Joon-ha naturally agreed without any hesitation. However, the haunted house was far on the other side of the river, so the two had to go by boat. Just as they were rowing towards the opposite bank with full of anticipation, danger was quietly approaching. Soon they arrived at that deserted house. The two mustered their courage to push open the gate, and the desolate and silent atmosphere made people feel a bit creepy. Just as they continued to go deeper, they both stepped into empty space and fell to the ground at the same time. Joon-ha quickly helped Joo-hee up, but at that moment, someone flashed by behind them. In order to find out the truth, Joon-ha gathered his courage and slowly pulled open that suspicious door. When she saw Joon-ha run away screaming, Joo-hee became even more curious, so she also mustered her courage and slowly approached, wanting to see what was inside the room. The so-called haunted house turned out to be just a temporary shelter for homeless people. Just as they were immersed in this thrilling experience, the sky suddenly started pouring rain. Their only small boat was washed away by the river, and the next ferry crossing was miles away. It would be difficult to reach this distance before dark. To make matters worse, Joo-hee injured her ankle due to the slippery ground. Joon-ha had no choice but to carry her to a dilapidated melon shelter. He thoughtfully wrung out his clothes for her to dry herself. After the rain stopped, he picked a large watermelon. However, Joon-ha's rough way of cutting the watermelon shocked Joo-hee. Having grown up in the city, she never imagined watermelon could be eaten like this. She began to feel fascinated by the boy before her, and emotions quietly blossomed in her heart. As night fell, they finally reached another ferry crossing. Joo-hee was deeply captivated by the fireflies by the river. This was the first time she had seen such insects in real life. Seeing her fascination, Joon-ha quickly caught one and gave it to her. This gesture completely won her heart. When the two returned by boat, Joo-hee's grandfather had been waiting at the ferry for a long time. Realizing they were about to part, Joo-hee gave her necklace to Joon-ha as a token of love. She was then carried away by the servant, while Joon-ha was slapped loudly by Joo-hee's grandfather. This was a warning for him to recognize his place. Just when it seemed their connection would end here, fate played the cruelest joke. At the start of the autumn semester, Joon-ha's good friend Jin-an approached him. He asked Joon-ha to help write a love letter to his fiancée. As he spoke, he took out a photo, but when Joon-ha saw it, he was instantly stunned. The girl in the photo was none other than Joo-hee, whom he had been thinking of day and night. Jin-an said it was an arranged marriage since childhood, and he had never met her before. Joon-ha did not reveal that he already knew Joo-hee, because he also deeply loved the girl in the photo, so he could only pour out his overwhelming longing under the guise of his friend's name. Soon Jin-an received a reply from Joo-hee, which included 2 tickets to her music concert. He excitedly brought Joon-ha along to watch it. As Joo-hee gracefully walked onto the stage, Joon-ha uncontrollably stood up abruptly. He gazed at that familiar and enchanting face, deeply immersed in her charm and unable to free himself. The piano piece played by Joo-hee also faintly carried a touch of indescribable sorrow, moving everyone who heard it. When the performance curtain fell, Joo-hee shone like a brilliant star, her face radiant with a sweet smile. Chang'an hurriedly presented flowers to her. In an inadvertent glance, Joo-hee's eyes locked onto Joon-ha in the audience, who was holding a bouquet of flowers. Instantly, a strange surge of emotion welled up in her heart, but the constraints of reality felt like an invisible shackle, preventing her from acknowledging Joon-ha, forcing her to leave with her elders. And Joon-ha similarly lacked the courage to offer the flowers in his hands. Just as he was feeling dejected alone, holding the bouquet, he spotted Joo-hee running back to the concert hall alone in the distance. In that moment, he understood that she must have come back for him, so he quickly hurried towards Joo-hee as well. Seeing the hall empty, Joo-hee rushed back outside to continue her search. Finally, the two collided into each other's embrace outside the building. At this moment, all words felt redundant. The radiant smiles exchanged and their glances surpassed any language in the world. Joon-ha promptly presented the flowers to her.
고마워요.
축하해요. 다리는 다 나았어요?
네,
걱정 많이 했어요.
더 연습해야 돼요. 사람들이 기다리고 있어요. 몰래 빠져나왔거든요.
Their second meeting concluded just as hastily as it began. But even so, it was enough to make Joon-ha so excited that he was dancing around. After that, they often secretly exchanged letters behind Chang'an's back. While Joo-hee was the girl he deeply loved, Chang'an was his closest brother. Joon-ha's awkward position felt like an invisible shackle, tightly binding him in a whirlpool of emotions. But the love in his heart had already ignited like a fierce flame, impossible to extinguish. The school's social dance party created another opportunity for them to meet again. However, since Chang'an was also present, they could only pretend not to know each other. Yet every time their eyes met, it conveyed the emotions within their hearts. Although they couldn't openly express their love, these feelings were enough to bind their hearts closely together. But good times are always short-lived. Watching Chang'an escort Joo-hee away, an indescribable sadness welled up in Joon-ha's heart. After Chang'an politely bid farewell to Joo-hee, she stopped at the doorway, hoping with all her heart that Joon-ha would appear behind her at that moment. Just as she was about to ring the doorbell, the porch lights suddenly went out. When she turned around, Joon-ha was standing quietly under the dim streetlights. Warm light shimmered in Joo-hee's eyes, interweaving with the brilliant street lamps, creating a warm and romantic atmosphere. At this moment, time seemed to stand still, leaving only two hearts closely connected in the night. But no matter how passionately they loved, it was destined to be unacceptable by societal norms. Joo-hee's marriage had already been arranged by her parents.
우린 아무것도 할 수 있는 일이 없어.
그런 소리 하지 마. 무슨 방법이 있을 거야.
To make matters more complicated, Chang'an, who initially didn't approve of the arranged marriage, had gradually developed feelings for Joo-hee. Holding a bouquet of flowers, he firmly expressed his love. This left Joo-hee at a loss, because her heart was already completely filled with Joon-ha. Yet her engagement to Chang'an was an insurmountable gap.
왜 자꾸 픽픽 쓰러지지? 키가 커서 그러나?
To avoid hurting everyone further, Joo-hee resolutely chose to break up with Joon-ha. Whenever the familiar signal light flashed in the night, Joo-hee could only endure the pain and pretend not to see it. But the unwilling Joon-ha found her in the rain, trying to rekindle the lingering warmth of their love. However, the girl held back her inner pain and spoke words that contradicted her true feelings.
비 맞지 말고. 이거 쓰고 집에 가.
These decisive words struck like a heavy hammer, shattering all his illusions about love. He braved the heavy rain and continuously flashed their signal light, hoping to get a response from Joo-hee, but the other party came from behind.
이렇게 헤어지긴 싫어. 잠깐만이라도 줘. 나도 얘기 좀 해.
마찬가지야. 헤어지는 건 헤어지는 거야. 이건 너란 말이야.
Watching Joo-hee leave helplessly, Joon-ha suddenly had a bold plan. He directly found Chang'an and confessed everything about himself and Joo-hee.
지금까지 너 몰래 사귀고 있었어. 이 목걸이도 사실은 여름방학 때 주희가 준 거야.
근데 그 목걸이 우리 아버지가 안 보게 해라. 큰일 난다. 그 목걸이 우리 아버지가 준 거다. 주희 씨한테.
In this love rivalry, Chang'an actively chose to withdraw. but it was this generous decision that almost cost him his life. The good brother's concession allowed Joon-ha and Joo-hee's love to continue. Even during winter vacation, the two would write letters every day. But Joo-hee's father still discovered his daughter's secret. The news quickly spread to Jang-in's home. The father who learned the truth was furious. After finally managing to connect with the daughter of a member of parliament, how could he allow his son to give up so easily? He fiercely beat Jang-in with a belt until he swore that he would definitely take back Joo-hee. But facing his best brother, Jang-in did not say what he had promised his father, but instead pulled out the belt and asked in a trembling voice,
이놈이 자꾸 날 때린다. 그래서 이놈을 잡아왔지. 이놈한테 무슨 벌을 내릴까?
사형.
내 생각도 그거야.
He also told Joon-ha to take good care of Joo-hee. These inexplicable words made Joon-ha feel confused. So after a short while he went to look for Jang-in, but upon turning around he saw a scene that terrified him. Jang-in knew that Joon-ha and Joo-hee were in love with each other, and he could not fulfill his vow to his father, so he could only use the method of ending his life to let everyone find release. Because rescue was timely, Jang-in temporarily saved his life, but it is unknown when he will wake up. When Joo-hee came to visit him, Joon-ha happened to be present. The three of them should have been confidants who shared their heartfelt feelings, but they never expected to end up in such a situation. Looking at his good brother who did not hesitate to sacrifice his life for them, and looking at Joo-hee who was in a dilemma because of him, Joon-ha was filled with guilt in his heart. He realized that perhaps he was the one who should leave. So when Joo-hee turned to look again, Joon-ha had already silently left. On the door handle, only that token of love necklace remained. Joo-hee understood what this meant. It was the resolute farewell of her beloved. She hurriedly chased after him to search, but could not see any trace of him. She stumbled and wandered on the crowded street, her heart feeling as if cut by a knife. Tears streaming down like rain, she tried to salvage that beautiful and innocent first love, but that familiar figure had already disappeared into the vast sea of people. From then on, Joon-ha seemed to have vanished from the earth, and no trace of him could be found, until one day much later, Joo-hee encountered Jang-in, who had already recovered.
준하 씨 소식 아세요?
It turned out that Joon-ha, to heal his inner wounds, chose to enlist in the military and was about to be sent to a battlefield in a foreign land. On the crowded platform, Joo-hee anxiously searched for Joon-ha's figure. Finally, she saw him again through the window, and all her longing erupted at that moment. Joo-hee's deep and helpless call struck Joon-ha's chest repeatedly. He did not dare to face it, did not dare to respond, and could only suppress his deep feelings and bury them in his heart. However, Joo-hee's heart-wrenching sobs were like sharp blades ruthlessly cutting through his inner defenses. In that instant, Joon-ha's heart felt as if it were torn apart. Some fates are destined to only remain at the moment of meeting, while some emotions make one's heart ache deeply yet cannot be let go. Joon-ha put on this lucky charm filled with longing, and made a resolution in his heart: if he could return alive, he would never again betray their mutual love. However, fate continued to play tricks on them. In a fierce battle, his team was retreating step by step. Just as he was about to successfully evacuate, an unfortunate accident occurred. Several years later, Joon-ha was discharged from the military and returned, and he immediately arranged to meet Joo-hee. Seeing her beloved return safely, Joo-hee cried tears of joy, as she had been waiting for this deeply loved man. But when the two were confiding their heartfelt feelings to each other, Joon-ha said that he had already gotten married. Hearing this, Joo-hee's heart trembled, and tears instantly fell. The original joy of reunion was harshly shattered. To ease the atmosphere, Joon-ha turned his head to look at the table nearby and pointed out that the piano doll on it was very exquisite, but that piano model had already been taken to the other side by a little boy, and his disguise was thus exposed. Joo-hee subconsciously waved her hand in front of his eyes, but Joon-ha did not notice at all. At this moment, she suddenly realized that the man she deeply loved before her had long been blind in both eyes. She could no longer hold back the tears in her eyes.
지금 울고 있어. 눈물 안 보여?
Joon-ha, realizing his disguise was exposed, quickly stood up and tried to leave, but he tripped over the chairs and tables. Endless sadness made Joo-hee feel suffocated. She stepped forward and slowly helped him up.
거의 완벽했는데.
거의 속을 뻔했어.
Joon-ha again took out the necklace wanting to return it, but Joo-hee did not take it back. Instead, she affectionately and silently put it on him again, because this necklace carried their beautiful memories and witnessed their innocent and flawless love. Later, Joo-hee, under her family's arrangement, married Jing-en, but the tears in her eyes were forever embedded in the frame of time, full of nostalgia for the past and regret for unfinished love. Many years later, Joo-hee came to the river where she first met Joon-ha, with her daughter playing alone nearby. Just as she was immersed in memories, a sound from behind interrupted her thoughts. She slowly turned around and saw several of Joon-ha's comrades holding his ashes box walking towards her.
준하가 죽기 전에 이 강물에 유골을 뿌려달라고 유언을 남겼습니다.
In an instant, her heart felt as if struck by a heavy hammer. Tears burst forth immediately, and she sobbed uncontrollably. It turned out that at their last meeting back then, Joon-ha had not actually gotten married, because he was blind in both eyes. He was unable to give Joo-hee happiness, and to make her give up, he chose to deceive her with good intentions. After Joo-hee and Jing-en got married, he then chose to start a family. Later, he died in endless darkness, depressed and sorrowful. His ashes were scattered at the place where they first fell in love, becoming an eternal regret for both. We are like two leaves from different seasons, briefly together and then pushed by the wind to our own directions. Even though I know the ending was already written, the days and nights spent with you are still the brightest fireworks in my long years. Fate let us meet, but it did not give the story a perfect ending. Perhaps it is precisely because there are regrets in the human world that the movie is so touching.